Hello and welcome back to a new video of Adrian's Film Collectibles. Well, for this video I've got these cards that I'd like to show, which are rare old cards, and I've not done a video for them, so I'd like to add them into a video, even though I've put them on my page to see as photographs, which are these ones here, these little cards. You got Charlie Chaplin, one of Oliver Hardy there. And these are really small, these cards, really rare, small ones. And then again, one of Stan Laurel from Babes in Toyland, and one again there of Ollie from Sons of the Desert. I'm guessing obviously these are obviously from a set, so there's possibility there's more of these. I'm not sure exactly what these ones are, whether they were like little cigarette cards or confectionery style cards, but there's nothing on the backs of them. But they're really, really rare and an unusual little find to have there as part of the card collection. And then there was this one that came from the same set, which is slightly larger, which is a French trade card from the 19th to 20th century, so it's like a grocery card, and you've got all the details on the back. It's all in French. You've got the name of the company here, if I can pronounce that right, Lamy. I'll probably not pronounce that right, but then on the bottom it's all advertising for groceries, confectionaries, desserts. You've got wine, spirits and champagnes, which is all in French. So it's obviously like a trade advertising card for a business food store back in the day. So it's a nice old vintage card with a really great shot there of Charlie Chaplin in cartoon. And then just on from that, I have also put photographs of these on, these bits and pieces, because at the beginning of this month I went to Switzerland and I stayed in Montreux, and then it was just one track along the train line from Montreux to Vevey, and stopped at Chaplin's World, and it was all planned to go there as part of the trip, and it was probably one of the best museums I've been to in a very long time. I've never seen a museum quite like it before, even though you've got Charlie Chaplin's house, his grounds to explore, and then also a like a museum studio with a really big gift shop next to it, which I got this was a little Chaplin coin with Chaplin's image there, and then just on the other side you've got his house with the Swiss flag on there. And then I just picked that up, which is really nice. It's that metal keyring of Charlie Chaplin. They had some really good stuff in there in the shop. I did joke about it. Oh, I'll take a shopping trolley in there and just buy one of everything. Of course, that's impossible to do when you're traveling. And then there's this I got. I love this little figure of Chaplin, as I'm a big collector of all figures on Charlie Chaplin and Laurel Hardy. As I guess most people already know, it's pretty obvious that I have loads of figures, and I do love my figures on Chaplin and Laurel Hardy, but this is a nice little one to have. I'll keep it in its original packaging. And then it's got Chaplin's World on the top there as well. So I can always remember this is where this figure came from. And then I got, that's the tickets when you go in, Chaplin's World. So I keep them as that little souvenir, and then also like a leaflet all on the details for advertising Chaplin's World. And of course it's Halloween month. It was a time when obviously it was all set up for Halloween in the grounds of all spooky things in the bushes and around the trees. The trees in the grounds were amazing. They were huge. They were like 18th century trees. But you could imagine Chaplin with all his children, Charlie Chaplin, his children, and Una, his wife. They would have had a lot of happy memories there. And you can just imagine when you're walking around the grounds that all the kids would have been playing and having a really good time, as there is a lot of coloured footage of Chaplin in his later years there. He spent the last 20 years or so of his life there, so he had a very happy time there. But the house was incredible. You have like the library, his study area, his lounge area with a great big fireplace, and you've got the original chairs where there is actual original footage of Charlie Chaplin where he sat with his wife in those chairs, listening to old music. And then there's his original violin on the wall that he took with him everywhere. When he was 16 years old, he had that, and he never left it, so he always kept it with him. And you can also imagine him probably having that when he travelled with Fred Carno, with Stan Laurel. So probably Stan Laurel would have probably seen that violin that he had. There's probably no doubt about that. As we know that Stan was his understudy in the theatre days of Fred Carno. But so going back to the house, the layout was incredible, and then you have the living room, and then you have the dining room area, and then you have the bathrooms, and then they have waxworks of Charlie Chaplin and Una, and they are so lifelike and so real. You can stand with them and have photos with them, and there's so much information to absorb. I went back in again to have another little look round after I'd been in the studio part. I went back in again and into the house and have another look round. So there's no restrictions for that. You could be there as long as you wanted to take it all in. But the studio was incredible. You start off with a cinema with a screen, and you watch a lot of old footage of Chaplin, and the screen comes up and it takes you behind all that, and then you're sort of going down memory lane into sort of like Victorian style London, with the kid, Jackie Coogan, and then you got the policeman, and then how it was back in Chaplin's early days when he lived in poverty. And then it sort of goes through all the different stages, and you have waxworks of all the different actors and actresses that worked and played in the Chaplin films, as Paula Goddard. You have Virginia Show, the Blind Flower Girl. You had Henry Bergman, trying to remember all the names now. Eric Campbell, a really big guy, massive, tall guy. Albert Austin, I think it was another one. And then you had waxwork of Harold Lloyd holding on to a clock. This is absolutely incredible. But how it was all done and laid out was amazing. It really took you away from reality and took you into that world of Charlie Chaplin's world. And then you have like replica sets of the hut, the house from the Gold Rush. You can stand in that and it moves. The door opens and wind blows through. Then you have the turning clogs from modern times. And it's absolutely incredible. There's so much effort and work put into it. Plus, there's Lauren Hardy in there as well. And Stan Laurel's mentioned, of course, as they, again, like I said earlier, that they worked together in the early days. But the detail in the information in there was incredible. And, and you also had things like the costumes and things, so you could stand behind them, pretend you were like Chaplin from The Great Dictator, or the Pilgrim, or the Chaplin character. or in his prison outfit. So it just went on and on. There was so much to take in and absorb. Just not forgetting this. This was another little gift that I got, which was a T-shirt. I absolutely love this T-shirt. Really, really great. Yeah, so we think too much and feel too little, which is one of his famous quotes that he says from the great dictator. It's been put together there with Jackie Coogan from The Kid, and really great T-shirt. So sometimes it's these smaller things that I got from the museum, like this or this, that would probably mean more to me than, say, something that I buy that's really expensive in terms of like an autograph or something, because it always reminds you of where you were then and the place you saw back then and what it meant to you, and it was absolutely an incredible memory. And of course I kept the bag as well. That's all part of it. Chaplin's well. So you got to keep it all together. It's got to be kept together. But it's a bit like when I went to the Law and Hardy Museum for the very first time. I've still got. I mean, I was 8 years. I was 10. I was 10 years old. So I got the original, or one of the original T-shirts back then, and then the book and postcards and things, and I still have all those because they're the very first items that I got that reminded me of when I first sort of introduced to it more and how it just developed and kept my interest going over the years. But so that's it with Chaplin's world, and then on from that you can go to the graves as well. Just thinking of that. Which was about a half-hour walk from the house, so it's sort of all downhill. I mean, it's all mountains, Switzerland. Everything's sort of at that angle. Everything's very steep, so it's not a big graveyard, but it's not hard to find because there's signs up everywhere that takes you in that direction. But it's a nice walk as well of the countryside and all these surrounding houses in the area. But they're just big two graves, like two big monuments with Una and Charlie, and with a bench in front. And I sat there for a little while and took photos. It was really, really lovely. And on top there was two candles with like glass holders with the candles inside, and Una's was nice and straight on the top. And just before I left, I noticed Chaplin's was all crooked to one side, so I straightened it for him, and I said, "There you go, Charlie, I'll just straighten that for you." And I said, "Thank you very much for everything." And it just really personal feeling to me. And then on from that, you can get the bus down to the lake, and then you have his statue down there on the lakefront. Again, absolutely brilliant to get that in as well. And there's lots of like advertising around the towns, and there's like paintings and things of him on the walls. So there's quite a lot connected to Charlie Chaplin in that part of Switzerland. Absolutely amazing. So would I go back there again? Yes, I would. Would I go around there? Yeah, I'd do it all again. It's an amazing place, and his house is incredible. So there it is for this video. Just my little tribute to Chaplin's world, his home, and those few cards that I wanted to show. And I've got some new items to show soon, so look out for the next video soon. Have fun, everyone, and bye for now.